Welcome to how to learn how to use a Collaborate session. So for those of you who are accessing the Collaborate session from the Schedule Manager within Blackboard, which in this case in my shell is located under this Collaborate Rooms link, we have our scheduled sessions and then the session I'm going to join. So if I click on the title, it comes to a new page, and this is where I see the name of the shell, the start date and time, and the end date, and this awesome Join Room button. Now, as I mentioned before, if this is your first time trying to join a Collaborate session, when you click on this, you're going to want to download the launcher first. Okay, so click on this button here, save the launcher, run it, and then you can come back and instead click on this link down here. So, launcher already installed, launch the Collaborate window now. And then you're going to have this new window appear that says, well, I'm using Firefox. So for those of you using Chrome, you're going to see a .collab file over down here in the bottom of your screen that you just click on. But in Firefox, I have this window here, which is open with the launcher, and hit OK. Now, you do have to wait a few seconds because it is somewhat slow to load. And what happens is that people don't see the program appear. So see right now it just appears, the application starting and verifying and downloading. And they don't see this window appear immediately, so they keep clicking the .collab file. And so eventually you have like 15 Collaborate windows all trying to load at once, and your computer will slow down or crash. So click on the collab file once and just give it some time to load. Once it does load, let me go ahead over here, and we have this window that appears. This is the Collaborate screen. Because I've used it before, I'm not prompted to choose my connection speeds. When you first load the program, it's going to ask you to choose your connection. And you can come back into Collaborate and change this at any time by going to Tools, and then one of these things here. Well, you can change it for. So, when you have your screen here, it's actually, I mean, it looks very complicated, but it's actually quite simple. So everybody who is in the Collaborate room with you is going to appear in this participant window right here. And anybody who chats is going to type some stuff and hit the Enter key, and then the chat screen appears down here. If you have a webcam, in order to access it or turn it on, you do have to actually click on the video button. And then it stays depressed. And at this point, to turn off your webcam, you have to actually go over here and click this button again. And it's the same process for talking. So in order to talk to the class using voice, you have to actually click on the talk button. And you can tell that it's working because this gray bar is moving up and down as I talk. And then once you're done speaking, make sure you turn off the talk button by clicking on it again. So that's going to be really important because some classrooms have a limited number of people who can talk at any given time to prevent feedback. And so if you're not talking, make sure that this talk button is disabled. And that will help the course move along much more smoothly. Again, if you're going to be talking a lot, you should be using a headset when you are attending a Collaborate class, just like Skype. So if the course is echoing because people are hearing themselves over your computer, it is not the platform's fault. It is yours for not using a headset. So if you're going to be using a Collaborate classroom and you're going to be talking a lot, then you should invest in a headset. And really, you kind of have to. We make you do that if you are disrupting the course. So, as I said, we have our audio video screen here where whoever is talking will appear in this window. We have our participants. Now, right here we've got some icons. So as a student or an instructor, you can move your mouse over any of these little guys and click on it to have a little icon appear. The problem is that if the instructor is busy over here lecturing and talking to you, they're probably not going to notice you doing anything down here. So if you have a question, this is where the raise hand icon comes into play. When I click on it, the instructor will hear a ting sound on their computer, And they also have an alert here in red, and they'll see this alert here in red as well next to your name. Now, if your question has been answered, then make sure you click on this button again to lower your hand. Otherwise, the instructor will still think you're having a problem when you're not. If they ask you to do a poll by answering yes or no, the checkmark icon is right here. And this is where you can click on yes, and then you'll see a yes checkmark over here. And then the total for yes and no appears at the very top of the screen. And you can choose no like that. And then to turn it off, just click on none. And then if you're going to be stepping away from the computer, maybe your kids got hurt, or you have to go to the bathroom, or whatever, you don't have to tell us why you're gone. Just come up here and click on this little AFK button here, and then we'll see an away notification next to your name. So if you're going to be away from the computer, make sure you let us know by the icon here. It is the simplest way. Now, the instructor, on the instructor side, the instructor has the option of recording the Collaborate session at any time, and they can do so by clicking on the record button here, and then start and resume. As a student, you cannot see these buttons unless the instructor makes you a moderator. And they can make you a moderator very easily, simply by right-clicking your name, and then they would see under this menu here, give moderator privileges. And that will allow you to share your screen. So if you had to share a PowerPoint, you can do it that way. You can record, so on and so forth. And they can remove those privileges just as easily by this button here. And they can even boot you from the course altogether by clicking down here for remove participant. And you probably can't see that, so let me go ahead and do that. So if I right click on my name here, right here, we've got give mod privileges, take away privileges, and then remove the participant. So if you're being disruptive, we can kick you out, which is always nice from the admin side. And to make sure that your microphone and audio is working properly, under Tools, we've got the Audio tab right here, and then the Audio Setup Wizard. And this will help you set up both your microphone input and also the audio output. To make sure your webcam is working, that would be under here down on Video, under Camera Settings. And those are really the two main areas you're going to have to work with if this is your first time using a Collaborate room on your computer. So Audio Wizard under Audio, and then Video Camera Wizard under the Video section. Now, it is possible to view those same options by going up here to Edit, and then clicking on the Preferences to bring up the Preferences window. And for the audio and video, it's all right here under one section for audio and video. And you've got your input for camera, the settings, the microphone settings, speaker settings, so on and so forth. Now, to change your actual connection speed, maybe when you did the pop-up, your connection is too slow, and so you have to turn down the speed. Or maybe you misclicked and you can actually enable the maximum connection. How you would change the bandwidth you use within Blackboard is under here, within Preferences, under the Session section. And then right here we have this connection speed drop-down. And you can choose, if you're on dial-up modem, all the way up to LAN, which is 10 megabit per second or higher, I believe. The thing to note, for those of you on very low bit rates, you will always be able to hear the audio. So the audio takes priority over everything else. Next, you then see the content. So if you are on one of these lower bit rates, you might only hear the audio. And in your case, you might be better off actually using the Collaborate Audio Bridge. You'll have to give it a try to find out. Now, from the instructor side, or if you're a student who is presenting, we have our whiteboard right here. And these icons down here are how you can put things on the whiteboard. So we have a pen tool here. And once I click on it, we have, I can change the color down here, go to red, and then the stroke thickness. So you can do some very rudimentary drawings. Now, when you are doing this, the instructor can see who is doing what. So, don't try making any inappropriate drawings, because we can track who is doing what. And it is not anonymous in any degree. So do keep that in mind. To add text, click on this little text box icon here, and then simply drag your window here, and then start typing. You can go back and increase the font size down here, as well as the bold, underline, italics, and then font color as well. So now it's red. You can also place pictures on the screen, either screen capture. So this will take a screenshot of your desktop and paste it onto the screen there. It's supposed to. And then you can also drag an image from your computer onto the whiteboard as well. And then this window down here is how you could switch between different whiteboards. So we can add new pages, we can delete pages, and any new pieces of content we add to the whiteboard will appear in this drop down here. Now this middle icon is for sharing your application. And if I click on that, as the instructor, we'll have this UAC warning. Go ahead and click OK. And I can choose to share my entire desktop or a specific application. Now, if you're going to be giving a PowerPoint presentation, you should use Share Desktop. For all other instances, you can feel free to just share that one application. The reason being, with PowerPoint, when you go into presentation mode, that overlay is technically not in PowerPoint, it's outside of PowerPoint. So if you're just sharing the application PowerPoint down here, as you move slides, your students aren't going to see you actually do anything. They will just see the actual PowerPoint program. So if you want your PowerPoint to take up your entire screen and share your screen that way, then you want to choose Share Desktop. And if I go ahead and hit Share, my screen's going to change. It says now Sharing Desktop. And it's going to be kind of hard to see, but up here, I'm going to have a yellow box around the area that I am screen sharing. And there is a pause button, so I can pause the recording, or I can stop it altogether. Now this little camera icon here is the screenshot icon. If I click on it, it's going to look like it's not doing anything, but in reality it's taking a screenshot and is copying it to the whiteboard. So if I stop sharing here and move my cursor back, you can see that we're now in the whiteboard area again, and you can tell because the whiteboard icon is selected. This is now my screenshot. So here was our first page in the whiteboard, and if I go down, here's the second page. So as you add screenshots, they're going to be stacking in this area right here. You can also do what's called a web tour. Now what web tour does is you never ever want to try to share a video through Collaborate or Pexip. It's going to look like crap, it doesn't work, so just don't do it. But if you're sharing a video that's embedded on a website, what you can do for your distant students, if their bandwidth allows, and this does not seem to work for the iPad, so as long as they are on a Mac or a PC at least, you can use the web tour option. And what this does is as you go to a website, like in this case we'll go to our college site, everybody will have a browser within Collaborate that will load and go wherever you go. So essentially as you click, their browser will click as well. So it's kind of like you're controlling their computer, but it's just their web browser. And just make sure that this button here called Follow Me is enabled. And that's pretty much all there is to the basics of Collaborate. You've got, this is your content screen. You've got your video here, your video and talk button, your participants list for everybody in the chat, and the chat room. And you can undock these and move them around by clicking on the little triangle here, and then, whoops, what did I do? Whoops. No. So the triangle will collapse and expand these sections, but if you want to actually undock them and move them to a different location or a different screen, go over here to these sections at the top right of the window, and then click on the Detach Panel option right here. And then you can drag it around wherever you want. So that's pretty cool. And to move it back, just drag it back into this panel here, and it's reattached, redocked.